In this episode of You Ask, I Answer, Pradeep asks, even after making the most calculated decisions, some digital marketing strategies may fail due to improper implementation or disruption in the market. What's the best way to redesign your strategy when your previous strategy has failed? Well, that's a loaded question. In order to understand failure, or success for that matter, you need to follow the hierarchy of analytics. So if you remember, the hierarchy of analytics is descriptive, what happened; diagnostic, why; predictive, what's going to happen next; prescriptive, what should we do about it; and finally, proactive, can we get a machine to do it for us? If we want to understand failure analysis is inherently looking backwards. So that's going to be descriptive and diagnostic, what happened and why. When we look at what happened, we have a KPI of some kind, some outcome that we were aiming for. It could be lead forms filled out. It could be purchases, shopping carts completed. It could be awareness. We just want to know that people are finding us. But whatever the outcome is that we didn't get, we need to run intensive analysis on the data, on the KPIs, to identify what was the KPI, how far did we not achieve the goal, and then what were the contributing factors that went into those KPIs. There's two machine learning methods that I really like for understanding that. One is called random forest, and the other is called Markov chains. Either one, if you have the right data that supports them, will help us understand, yep, that KPI failed because these three variables did not add up. These three variables did not perform. In doing that analysis, we not only understand what happened, we start to understand why. We start to understand why we didn't meet our KPI. And then we have to dig in qualitatively into our strategy to figure out why those variables didn't match up. So let's use a real simple example. I want to drive subscribers to my newsletter, and I run a campaign, run a bunch of ads, do a bunch of social posts, and I run an analysis and say, okay, what variables feed into email subscriptions? And if it turns out it's a combination of social posts plus, say, YouTube ads plus organic search. Let's say those are the three variables that our machine learning spits out and says, yeah, these are the things that went wrong, or these are the things that lead to email subscriptions. I can then go and look and say, okay, well, let's take a look at each of these three channels. Which one did the least good job? And find out it was YouTube ads. Why? Why did YouTube ads not do as well as they could have? What could we have done better? Maybe my content was boring. Maybe my lighting was terrible. Maybe my microphone didn't work. Something went wrong in that channel or in that method that failed. So what do we do? From a repair perspective, we could try an experiment where we shoot 1, 2, 3, 5 new YouTube videos as a way to determine, is this channel actually the problem? And if we run a whole bunch of new ads and YouTube still doesn't perform, then we have to say, okay, let's elevate our questioning from the data itself to the strategy. Because when you're reverse engineering a campaign, it's kind of like reverse engineering getting lost when you go driving. If you get in your car and you've got Google Maps up and running on your phone, there are wrong directions which could be provided to you by the system that would lead you astray. But if you fix the directions, or the data source is fine and the roads are fine, and you're not achieving your goal, at some point you have to question, am I going to the right destination? You ever have that happen where you run into, you put your stuff in the GPS real fast and you realize as you're starting to drive, this doesn't seem right, and then you realize you put it in the completely wrong place. You wanted to go to the fast food place in your town, but you accidentally put the fast food place in like 3 towns over. Like, ooh, whoops, that wasn't so good. And so strategically, you pick the wrong destination. So the same thing is true of analytics. If you do your descriptive analytics and you do your diagnostic analytics, you figure out what happened, you figure out why, and you're still not achieving an overall outcome, then you know your strategy is wrong. Then you know that no matter how many different tactics and executional methods and measurement methods you use, you just got the wrong destination in your corporate GPS. Then you have to pivot there. That's the best way to redesign this sort of thing, is to understand at what layer did we fail at. Did we fail at execution? We just didn't do the thing right. Did we choose the wrong things? And that's where the machine learning analysis of your variables comes into play. And are we just setting the wrong destination in the corporate GPS? In terms of strategic identification, that should be the last resort, because you should have done that research up front. Now, if you didn't do any research and you just set a strategy and you went hit go, or a strategy was handed to you, then you probably want to do the research before you launch the campaign so that you prevent the strategy from failing entirely before you begin. It's the same as, yes, the GPS might be wonky, but if you just set the wrong destination, it doesn't matter how good the GPS is, you're going the wrong place. So the strategy is something that should be data-driven and research-driven to begin with. If it's not, if you've been handed a strategy, then to avoid failure, to avoid putting your own neck on the line, on the chopping block, do the research yourself. And if the strategy is clearly wrong and you provide the data and you provide the analysis and you provide the insights to your stakeholders and they say, no, this is the strategy, and you just know it's wrong, might be time to update your LinkedIn profile, because you know from your research it's just not going to go well. And no matter how clever you are with your marketing tactics and execution, if you're going to the wrong place, you're going to the wrong place. So that's the answer to redesigning your strategy when your previous strategy has failed. You go from the bottom up. Okay, what happened, why, and then you can figure out what's likely to happen and what you should do about it. Tune up the execution first. Understand the execution first. Was it a bad execution? Then go up to tactics. Did we make the wrong choices to implement the strategy? And then get to the strategic layer and say, I'm not sure we got the right strategy. I think we went to the wrong place. We had the wrong destination in the GPS. That's the set of models that I would use that allow you to document your thought process, that allow you to prepare intelligent responses to difficult questions, particularly if your strategy was handed to you by another stakeholder, and to ultimately protect you against making career-ending mistakes. So, Pradeep, great question. Probably could dig in for hours on end into this, but that's the 10-minute or less summary. Thanks for asking. If you've got questions for You Ask, I Answer, go ahead and put them in on my website, ChristopherSpenn.com. Happy to answer them at any time. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel and also to the weekly newsletter, which you'll see at the end of this video. Thanks for watching.